It was the 1970s in sunny Los Angeles, California, a city full of movie stars and bright lights. But beneath the picture-perfect facade, Los Angeles has long been a city with a dark underbelly. Rob knew this all too well. He was the oldest of 3 siblings, with a father he never knew, and a mother who was addicted to drugs, alcohol, and physically abusive to her kids. Rob and his 3 siblings lived in extreme poverty, in a small, dark, dirty apartment when things were good, and homeless on the street when things got desperate. As the oldest, Rob had to parent himself and his siblings, walking miles to and from the grocery store every single week and preparing meals for his siblings before and after school because nobody else would. To make things even worse, Rob had an undiagnosed brain tumor that caused him to grow at a faster than normal rate and caused him considerable pain that he had to fight back. At just 17 years old, Rob's mother chased him out of the house with a large kitchen knife, telling him to never come back. Rob was able to get a job for himself as a janitor after school to rent a small apartment for himself. He'd often work late into the night, and on weekends he'd help people move into their houses so he could send a little bit of money to help his siblings. Miraculously, he was able to graduate high school despite everything he went through, but never quite made it to college. Instead, he continued working as a janitor, making just $40 a week. At the young age of 19, Rob was overweight, broke, felt hopeless, and was fed up with everything. By all reasonable expectations, Rob was on the fast track to nowhere. Then one day, Rob learned about a motivational speaker coming to town. His name was Jim Rohn, and he was giving a talk about success. Rob, desperate for some sort of change, scrounged up an entire week's worth of pay to attend the seminar. That seminar changed Rob's life forever and set him down a path that would not only radically impact his life, but millions of people across the world. But we'll get to that in a second. Coaching for me was always one of those things that I associated with crazy stories of stay-at-home moms who make $5,000 a month with 0 skills. You know, those sketchy ads you'll see when you're browsing online or reading the news. But what if I told you there really was a side hustle out there involving coaching that stay-at-home moms are currently doing and not making just $5,000 a month, but upwards of $20,000 to $300,000 a month using just a laptop, Facebook Messenger, and Facebook groups. And it isn't just for stay-at-home moms, but something anyone can do. In fact, I did it, and my results were absolutely insane. So coaching was actually something I did well before my journey to $1 million. I was exploring all these ideas on entrepreneurship, marketing, and I had this crazy idea to do a photography preset and sell it online using Facebook ads. Photography presets are super easy to make, and I decided I was gonna make one, run some ads, spend $1,000 and see what happens. At the time, I was filming weddings full-time, and this was a side hustle I was trying during my off season in the winter. When you work in the wedding industry, you kind of have like a reverse summer where in the winter time, you have your off season where people aren't getting married as much. In the summer times, your super busy season. So I put aside $1,000, designed an awesome website funnel, and started running some ads. Long story short, I sold like 3 presets after spending $1,000, and one of them actually ended up getting a refund. So I only ended up making like $40. But despite all that, I was absolutely hooked on the idea. I'd been following these guys called Traffic and Funnels for a while. I'd spent like $20 buying some of their products, and I thought that they could maybe teach me how to run better Facebook ads so I could turn this funnel into a profitable funnel. I eventually ended up getting on a sales call with one of their salespeople. But instead of teaching me how to run Facebook ads, they were pitching me on a coaching program. And when I asked how much it cost, they said around $10,000. Now, I definitely did not have $10,000 just laying around ready to just try out, this coaching thing, but they were pitching some crazy ideas like, hey, we can pretty much guarantee you're gonna make $20,000 a month if you're willing to put in the work. And they had testimonial after testimonial of students who had been successful doing this same thing. So even though I was super skeptical, I agreed to a follow-up call to hear more about what they were trying to sell me. Around that same time, I posted in their Facebook group asking if anyone else had taken their coaching program and if they could share, like the results they'd gotten and let me know if it was, something that they regretted getting or if they thought it was, something that was worth the money. The next day, I had a follow-up call with them, and this is when things got super sketchy. After hearing all he had to say, I told him that I just wasn't ready for a program like this. It wasn't something I was interested in. I was wanting to do Facebook ads to learn how to create a better funnel, and this wasn't originally what I'd gotten on the phone for anyway. Then this sales guy tried to make me feel dumb for making only $100,000 a year. He's saying I had like a poor people's mindset and that I was being weak and making an irresponsible choice for my family and my future. I told this guy to kick rocks and hung up. Later, I ended up checking my Facebook and I'd gotten a few messages privately from some people who had ended up taking the coaching program. They were basically begging me not to do the program. They mentioned that the group was super negative. They basically felt like they were bullied into taking the program, and whenever they wouldn't get good enough results and they'd ask for help or advice, they also felt like they were belittled and bullied for not trying hard enough. I'd already decided I wasn't going to do the program because of the phone call, but the fact that I got so many messages from people warning me away just really sealed the deal for me. But then something kind of strange happened. I was talking to one of these people who had messaged me and I said, hey, I'm sorry you spent so much money on a program that didn't work. It sounds like that's a real bummer. He said, the program? Oh, it totally works. It's just the people are mean and negative, but they definitely get results for people. This literally blew me away because this guy devoted hours of his week to warn people away from this program. He hated this company, but even he couldn't deny that what they were teaching got results for the people who were taking, the coaching program. Needless to say, my interest was really piqued at this point. And real quick, just another pause. Obviously, all these people had a really bad experience with traffic and funnels. And honestly, I had a bad experience with them too, but my bad experience basically boils down to one salesperson. And up until that point, I actually had a pretty decent experience with that company. This isn't really a review of traffic and funnels. And also, I don't really know the full backstory as to why all these people had such a bad experience with this company. And I've also met other people that have had amazing experiences with the company and rant and rave about how awesome it is. So I don't know if they're a good company or not a good company. This isn't a review or even about them at all. I'm just sharing with you my story and how things went. Anyways, from that moment forward, I was suddenly determined to learn what in the world they were teaching and how it was transforming these people's lives and how people were making so much money from Facebook groups and Facebook Messenger. I asked around a bit and I was finally recommended another coach named Janan. Everyone seemed to love her and have only good things to say about her, so I booked a phone call, heard her whole pitch, and it was basically really similar to what Traffic and Funnels was pitching. She just seemed to be maybe a little bit nicer. So I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. I emptied my bank account, I went all in, and I tried it out. I was super nervous to be spending so much money because it was literally thousands of dollars. Coaching programs are not cheap at all. I've seen them range from $3,000 all the way up to $100,000 for a coaching program. I was given access to the materials and started reading right away. All of the methods revolved around using Facebook Messenger and Facebook groups to sell some sort of high-ticket coaching program where you taught them a highly valuable skill. Part of the secret sauce to this whole thing was teaching something or selling something that you genuinely believed provided the value you were selling it for. So if you're selling a coaching program for $4,000, but you genuinely believe what you're teaching them can help them make $20,000, then it makes sense and you have the confidence to sell that coaching program. I decided, since I was a wedding videographer, to teach wedding videographers how to raise prices and get high ticket clients because I knew that was something that I was good at and I felt like I could teach it to other people and help change their life and help them make more money. And I felt confident if I charged them $4,000, I could help them make $20,000 to $40,000. I started joining groups and posting daily, and I legit, no joke, went from, day zero not even being in that group to 3 days later, people treating me like I was some sort of TED Talk speaker just because I was posting daily in these groups all these actionable pieces of advice. It was really weird to me because suddenly overnight everyone was asking me for all this guidance and wisdom and kind of treating me like I knew everything and had all the answers. You got to remember that at this point I had zero social media following. Nobody really knew who I was in the wedding industry specifically. I was just posting daily in these groups, and because of that, people thought I was some sort of authority in the group. Within my very first week trying out the coaching side hustle, I was able to book 2 clients for $4,000, which literally blew my mind because that was insanely quick to get results like that. And I knew if I continued on, what is that, $8,000 times, I could be making $24,000 a month coaching, not knowing what I was doing, just getting started, which that's crazy. Now keep in mind, I had zero authority built, I had zero experience doing this, I had zero social media following or audience. I went from scratch. Now I wasn't even trying to do coaching originally. I was trying to learn Facebook ads, okay? This wasn't even what I was trying to learn. I went from nothing, from absolute scratch to within a week making $8,000 doing this. It was kind of absurd how easy this side hustle was and how quick I was able to make money. And it was actually kind of scary when I really thought about it because I could have been a total fraud and absolutely screwed over people, which is, mainly the biggest complaint I've heard about the coaching industry is there's so many people out there that do that. They'll go and they'll start these coaching programs and absolutely screw over people because they're not teaching them anything of actual value. They're just really good at sales and getting people on the phone. My problem actually ended up being the opposite of that. I actually ended up caring about my clients a little bit too much. I should have kept them as clients only, but I ended up becoming friends with them. In fact, I still talk to both of them to this day, even though I'm not doing coaching anymore. And technically our coaching term was supposed to go for 8 weeks or 12 weeks. I still talk to both of them to this day. One of them is the reason I got on TikTok in the first place. We were just talking and kind of chatting about business, and he was like, hey, you should get on TikTok. So for me, it was actually a real struggle to do coaching because I just cared so much about my clients. I wanted to get them the most insane results. I wanted to see them succeed so badly that I wasn't able to disconnect my time and my commitment from these clients. What I really didn't love about the coaching side hustle is all the time and commitment it takes and all the emotional drain you have from it. You are literally messaging and talking with hundreds of people all day long, facing rejection over and over and over and over again. And that can be really exhausting for some people, and myself included. On top of that, I would get messages and calls from my clients, during the day, during weekends, during night, and I felt this constant pressure to get them results and get them something on paper that I could show, hey, I genuinely helped you, it was worth it. Eventually, I decided, coaching is not for me. This is something that is an amazing opportunity. Yes, I could make a lot of money, but the cost for my personality type was just too much. It wasn't something that was, really well suited for the type of person that I am. But for the right person, I genuinely think this is an awesome opportunity. I've met coaches who are genuine. They love helping people. They love delivering amazing results, but they're able to disconnect themselves and say, hey, if you're not doing the work yourself and you're not really putting in the effort, then I don't really care. So bringing it back together, remember Rob, the overweight janitor who attended the Jim Rohn seminar? Well, after the seminar, Rob knew he needed to change his life. He approached Jim Rohn after the seminar and asked him for a job. Jim surprisingly agreed, which, side note, just goes to show that fortune really does favor the bold. And if you want to get results, you got to put yourself out there first. Rob was able to study Jim as his assistant and worked on building his own motivational and coaching style. Rob then went on to radically change his life and then went on to teach and motivate other people how to also radically change their life. He went from being a completely broke janitor at age 19 to by age 26 being a millionaire and best-selling author. You might not know him by the name Rob, but by the name Robbins. That is Tony Robbins, and he went on to coach some of the world's most powerful and successful people, including 3 presidents, Usher, Pitbull, Serena Williams, and many, many more. Today, Tony's companies bring in over $6 billion worldwide, coaching people on how to be successful and transform their lives. Tony might be a rare example, but he does go to show what is possible with the coaching side hustle if you commit to a lifelong career of coaching and helping people. From my experience, coaching is definitely alive and well today and is easier than ever to get started if you have the passion to help people and the grit to work through the rejection and the ability to step back and let your clients get their own results. I recently had an interview with a coach who makes $100,000 a month. There's a card up above if you want to check it out. And if this is something that you're personally interested in, you've heard this whole video and you're like, that's something I would love to do, I would recommend talking with people who have actually been through coaching programs, hearing what they have to say, the good, the bad, and really weighing for yourself if that's something that you want to do, because it definitely is something that isn't for everyone, and it's definitely not a one-size-fit-all kind of thing. But like I said, for the right person, it's going to be an amazing fit. And last thing, the biggest misconception about coaching is you need some sort of insane, amazing skill. And the reality is you don't need an insane, amazing skill. You just need to be better than the people you're coaching. Some people want to be coached and they do want those insane, amazing results, but there's other people who want to be coached and they just need a small result. For example, one example I've often heard is you don't try to coach the person who's trying to go from 600 pounds to 150 pounds. You try to coach the person who's trying to go from 150 pounds to 145 pounds. And there are a lot of people with a lot of money who are willing to pay to lose that extra 5 pounds, or to bring in that extra $1,000 of income, or to just learn that new skill that can take their business or their life next level. If you found this video helpful, if you could go ahead and hit that like button, it helps my channel grow. And I'm on a mission to find the world's best, lesser known side hustles and lesser known ways to build wealth. And so if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you got to hit the little bell next to it if you want to be notified each time I release a video. Let me know your questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.